streams. It's so rude, but I'm so hungry. I don't know how to solve for the problem of being incredibly hungry. Oh, man. Let me just swallow this. Hi. I don't know where my brother is. I was just talking to him on the phone. Oh, the internet here is so bad. Do you know how when you're stressed out, like big things, and it only takes, I mean, can you even hear me, or is the internet too bad? The internet is too bad. Hold on. I'll try to make it better. I have to go now. I'll be back. Hi. I don't know where my brother is. It's weird because I was just talking to him. Hold on, let me text him. I think the internet's going to be a little bit better here. I would use actual internet, like wired internet, but my expensive, fancy new computer doesn't have a port to connect to wireless internet. You have to use a dongle. Do you know how, what I was saying before is, you know how when you're stressed out, there's a lot of big things that are like weighing on you, and like very small things become big because you already, I'm good, because you already have a, you know, like a severely elevated level of stress. Are you familiar with that feeling? Like you're just in like an elevated stress moment because you whatever you have been working 90 hours a week or whatever, and big things, which increases the number of like stopped working, and my brother's still not here. Great. Sheridan, can you set this up so it works? Oh, fuck.
Hello.
Oh, I think I'm back.
You're back? I'm back?
Hi, Hank. Oh, now Hank's here. It's fine. I mean, is there a way to set it up so that it works? That would be great if there were. Anyway, where small things feel big, I think my internet isn't working well enough to hear. I can hear you, Hank.
Okay, good. I'm looking at the chat. We got 127 humans here. Hello, all of you. I assume you're humans.
Yeah, mostly.
You never know on the internet these days. And
anyway, I just to finish the story that I was telling, because you're late, and I had to tell a story to try to kill time for you.
Yeah.
I dropped my keys into my lazy boy, which usually would not be a crisis. It's like I would say that's a level, 13, level 14 stressor. And I completely lost my shit and started crying. So that's where I'm at.
How high does the scale go?
A level 1 stressor is divorce, death.
Oh, okay.
Your roof caves in during a hurricane.
Okay.
You lose you're in a car and a tornado comes and throws your car 500 feet and you're severely injured, but you're not dead, but you don't have your phone. That's a level 1 stressor. Level 2 stressor is like you lose your job, your business fails.
Yeah, I think I get the idea now. I thought that 13 was on the way up to something.
No. You
1 to 100 scale or 1 to 500.
No. You got to stress. Obviously, you got to deal with your level 1 problems first before you deal with your level 14 problems. Can we install this permanently so that it's permanently for the next 12 days? Also, we're moving offices in 12 days, which
will the internet be better?
It'll be 3 times as expensive.
All right then.
So time will tell. I don't have one of these cables. I need a fucking dongle. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse.
What is the set behind you, John?
Huh?
What's the set behind you?
It's the art assignment set. It's the old art assignment set.
I just got a little bit angry because I forgot to get a hair appointment similarly, because I need to cut this hair. There's a lot of it right now. And this, my friends, is why John and I record Dear Hank and John over the phone together and not over Skype. And people will make fun of us, but the phone works. It is a functional thing. I think you're back now, John.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's not just. I mean, the funny thing is, so the internet in this office is faster than the internet in the Missoula office. So I don't know what the issue is, but there is definitely an issue. But the speed of the internet at speedtest.net is faster than the internet in Missoula.
Oh, it's very fast in Missoula. I guess maybe you have a Wi-Fi problem. You need more routers.
But I'm plugged in, so it's not that.
Oh. Well, maybe I don't know. I don't
maybe
know how it works.
Maybe it's my terrible. Maybe it's my terrible, incredibly expensive computer. that every time I type the letter E, it makes 2 E's, which is great. Like, of the characters that could happen to, I'm so glad it's E. Sorry, I'm in a bad headspace.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting episode of Dear Hank and John. I'm going to turn on the correct microphone. I've been told that I was on the wrong one, but it's not there.
You sound good to me.
Okay. I can't get a new computer ever again.
Yeah, so I had to get a new computer, and now instead, whereas there used to be like a card reader, this is a MacBook Pro, which would imply that it's for professional use. But where there used to be a card reader and an Ethernet port and all the other things that you would expect a computer that you use for your job to have, now there's just these tiny USB ports, and now you have to use a dongle for everything. And like I lose
one of those. I need to put this in it.
I lose the dongle with the card reader in it. I lose the dongle every Tuesday, and every Tuesday I have a full-on meltdown where I say the most obscene, profane things I've ever said in my life every Tuesday about the dongle. Like I have an epic weekly dongle rant. Yeah,
it's So I'm literally never going to get another computer. If I do, it will have to be not a Mac. Like it will make me. I will do that. I will have that life, and I can't. I need it to be built into my computer, because otherwise I'm going to be in San Francisco, or no, I'll be in like the middle of nowhere, and I'll be like, well, I guess I can't make my Vlogbrothers video now because there's no way to connect my camera to my computer. I need this. What, like, professional?
It's so. I mean, it's so stupid. Like the other thing. I mean, I hate the 2019 thing where it's not just the 27. Let's say starting in like late 2016 to 2019 thing where everybody complains about everything and life is terrible and if you say that life isn't terrible, then somebody publishes an op-ed full of that's like intellectually disingenuous, that says, no, you're wrong, life is terrible, and everyone's like, oh, this op-ed proves it, life is terrible after all. I hate all of that, but the MacBook issue is horrible. It's terrible.
John, can I talk to you? I've been thinking a lot about like what makes YouTube videos work.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes a YouTube video title work, one of the like the go-to solutions, and people click on it, is if you take something that is like known to be like just like general popular knowledge, and you say, actually, that's not true.
Yes.
So I was just whining and like sort of hot taking on Twitter recently about Netflix and YouTube and the sort of like the threat that they are to each other, and how YouTube is a bigger threat to Netflix than I think people realize. And somebody said YouTube and Netflix aren't really competitors, just like Coke and Pepsi aren't really competitors. And I was like, oh, well, like I was with you until the last half of your sentence when you said Coke and Pepsi, the quintessential competitor.
Yeah. Couldn't be
competitors. So so then I was like, Coke and Pepsi are competitors. Like they are the like the platonic ideal example of what they sell the exact same product.
Right.
And he responded to me and he said, watch this YouTube video. And the title of the YouTube video, it's got 150,000 views, and it's like Coke and Pepsi aren't really competitors.
Yeah.
And the thesis of it is Pepsi is going for this demographic and Coke is going for, and I'm like, yeah, but like both Coke and Pepsi want the other demographic.
They would be happy to accept it. Right. Yeah. That is a failure to understand competition, right?
Yeah, like the by far like the big like way that soda companies compete is this way that does not affect us at all. It's when they are competing to be inside of restaurants,
right,
inside of convention centers and airports, and like
right.
Like, are you a Coke place or a Pepsi place? And that competition is like pure business competition. And of course, mentioned in this video, it's just like,
well, right, because that's the other thing that really bothers me about those videos or those op-eds is that they ignore information that is inconvenient to their argument rather than acknowledging that information, and they do it on purpose. Like, I know that you're tired of me hearing about this, Hank, but that op-ed in The Guardian that argued that actually global poverty is going up that guy knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah. Like, he knew he was lying. He had to have known. Right? Like, so
yeah, it was like he was like, look, if you take a billion people out of the picture.
Oh, no, 2.3 billion people. If you don't count 2.3 billion people and you define the definition of poverty at this specific number that nobody has ever argued for before, but my thesis breaks down if you define it at $10, and my thesis breaks down if you define it at $2. So let's define it at $7.40. And you ignore 2.3 billion people. Actually, poverty has gone up slightly. Like, it's the stupidest.
Yeah.
But everybody, I mean, I have gotten so many emails about that op-ed, and people saying like, it turns out that your optimism was totally wrong, John, because you're absolutely right, Hank. Like, it's like people want to hear that the thing that they've been told isn't true. And the surprising, like the secret surprising truth, it's like we've all become conspiracy theorists almost.
Yeah, John, is your video this week? It should be called Everything You've Been Told Is a Lie.
Oh, God, I don't
about how everything that you've been told is a lie is a lie.
I don't want to do that. I just don't. I feel
like this conversation has just been very interesting to me, and like that because like all information is distributed in a way where it doesn't get an audience if it doesn't have a headline, that now we are getting the headline, not the information. And like we are being served the content that is best for clickability, not most accurate.
I mean, I feel like I've made that point 700 times in the last 642 videos, so I'm not sure I need to do another one. But yeah, I mean,
coming soon channel.
I also just I guess my issue with it, Hank, is that it's the same way I feel about, like when I was in college and high school, I liked to go on the internet and debate people about religion.
Yeah.
First I debated people about religion as an atheist, and
Yeah.
then later I debated people about religion as a Christian.
Yeah, sure.
And both times I was doing something stupid, in my opinion. And like what I now believe about those debates I was having is that the act of having them made the world worse. Like the act of engaging with that's just what I think. Like I think that like I just don't think you can change people's minds that way.
Yeah. John, do you know when our PodCon live episode is going to go up?
No. I mean, no, that's a great question. And also it allows us to change the topic away from me ranting about that Guardian op-ed I disliked so much.
Yeah, I mean, the remarkable thing is that you can make a video called Coke and Pepsi aren't really competitors, and it will have 3,000 likes and 100 dislikes. And I'm just like, this is a nonsense argument. There's nothing here.
Right. But, but the point is, like, it feeds people what they want. And like,
and the other point is, like, here's the other thing, and we've made this argument internally at our company before, that like ultimately if you watch that video, you do learn truths about the world. That Pepsi, like, it's very interesting that Pepsi's logo has changed like 20 times in the last 100 years and Coke's has never changed.
Yeah.
Like that's part of this story, that like Pepsi and Coke are trying to do different things because that's how the market fragments itself. And like in the same way that like, like BMW and Honda are competitors, but they're going after different market segments because that's how competition works.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we're changing the topic now. We only have 13 minutes left.
My polar vortex is going well here in Missoula. We finally got it. It flipped over here. And we had a weekend where we didn't leave the house, I think.
Yeah.
I came out to the office. I have to go outside to go to this room. And I think that is the only time I left at all. And it was very bad outside.
Yeah, it was cold for us, but we just didn't really leave the house much. Kids and I did some like science experiments about what kinds of liquids freeze and what kinds of liquids are less likely to freeze and why. It was pretty chill though. And then like yesterday it was 60 degrees and Henry and I went on a bike ride in shorts and t-shirts. So there is an old line, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, that everyone believes is unique to their town. Yeah. So like everybody always says, oh, Indianapolis, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. But I said this in the Anthropocene Reviewed episode, but I will never forget hearing that in Ethiopia and being like, oh, it is literally, it's everywhere. Everyone thinks this.
It's almost like weather isn't particularly consistent.
Yeah, right, exactly. Cody asks, John, do you know what clip caused your most recent video to be copyright claimed? Yes, it was the highlights of the Wimbledon game that I would love to go to court and argue that it was fair use, because I would like a more expansive definition of fair use. One of the videos I thought about making that I'm not going to make tomorrow is about a continuation of Hank's video about where the line is and why we haven't defined the line more clearly. But I'm not going to make it because I thought Crash Course Intellectual Property did a better job than I could do.
It was really those episodes are really good. I watched them. I was like, yeah. I was like Googling around, like trying to get a better understanding of fair use. And I watched that video and I was like, this is better than anything I've seen or read.
Yep. Stan did a nice job with that one. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, that's what happened. It was a real bummer. Like it's definitely the saddest I've been about, a Vlogbrothers video in a really long time. And I felt like it was unfair. And I also, to be honest, I felt like the English Football Association has been screwing over Wimbledon for 30 years. And I was of the institutions in the world, they're not my favorite. So yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that.
It's almost, yeah. So it's not like the the NHL came for you or the Olympic Committee or
No, it was literally the people who took Wimbledon away from its community and sold their league place to Milton Keynes. It was literally the same people.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, John.
God, this really is the like Hank and John are outraged about outrage edition of the Patreon live stream.
Hey, I am. I'm mad about being mad.
Oh, I'm so mad. How was PodCon 2, Hank?
It was so good. I had a very good time, and it was very stressful. But I got to hang out with a lot of really amazing people, and I can't wait to do it more if we can. So we're trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard decision. Like, I think people don't, from the outside, probably have a great understanding of the conference business, but it is a very hard. It's a very hard business, and I think another thing that people don't necessarily understand about businesses is that when they lose money, the owners of the businesses write the check.
Either that or you go bankrupt.
Yeah, like that. I think that's something people don't understand. Like it's like even I didn't understand that when we did the first VidCon. You know, that like essentially like you'd essentially convince me to put my house up against a YouTube conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To know if PodCon broke even this year, Heidi, I do not know the answer to that question yet. That's the other frustrating thing about this is that like money keeps coming in and out. There's lots of things, so I'll probably know tomorrow actually, but I don't know right now.
Oh, Gretchen says this is my first live stream because I got a snow day from school. 2 feet of snow on the ground. I don't know where you live, Gretchen, but that's a lot of snow. I feel like you should go sledding.
Oof.
Should go sledding somewhere.
In Missoula, there hasn't been that much snow. It's just all the snow that existed already has been blown around.
Right.
So like lots of areas have 0 inches of snow, and then lots of areas have like 3 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my back door.
Yeah, all our snow melted yesterday, and it melted like very dramatically, so that like literally the kids were like walking across this little pond near Chris and Marina's house, like on the ice, and I was like, guys, do not walk across the pond. And Chris is like, it's fine, the ice is like 3 feet deep, but it was 60 degrees outside. It was wild. Yesterday was wild. It was so fun. It was like yeah, it was a great day to be outside. And then there was the Super Bowl, which was awful.
I heard it was wild.
Oh God. I mean, I can't believe I spent 3 hours of my life watching that Super Bowl.
I didn't do that. I didn't even really pay attention to it as it was happening. I sort of like remembered after it was over and I checked and I was like, oh, that looks like it wasn't any fun.
Susie says, off topic, but I want to mention how much I love the podcast. It's truly a highlight of my week. Thank you, Susie. Even though y'all would, and I feel like it makes me smarter, even though y'all would love to disagree. I don't think it makes you smarter. No, I think you're right. I do want to disagree with that. I'm outraged that you think it makes you smarter. Yeah, it was definitely the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen. Also, I should have been in Jamaica because like every other year, Sarah and Chris and Marina and I go to Jamaica, and it's just the best. It's the best. I should have been in Jamaica, and I was watching the Super Bowl with Chris, and the whole time I was just thinking, I am supposed to be in Jamaica right now, and that's why I'm unhappy. Although it was a lovely day. Anyway.
Catherine and I just planned our first like I feel like our first actual couple vacation since we had Oren, and I'm so excited. It's going to be 4 days.
That's great. That's great. Are you going somewhere warm and nice?
Yeah.
Great. That's exciting. I am a huge believer in vacations, and I actually think one of the reasons I'm so stressed out is that like I haven't been on one in a long time. But it'll all be it's all gonna work out. You know the coolest thing that happened to me over the weekend, Hank?
What?
I fell way down. You know that picture of 3 farmers on their way to a dance, that August Sander photograph from 1914 of 3 boys You know that picture?
Yep.
I've always, like everyone else, or like most people, I've always thought of that picture largely because of its metaphorical resonances, not really thinking very much about, the actual people in question.
Yep.
And I've been writing or trying to write an art assignment video about that picture, and I have fallen way down the rabbit hole of learning about these three boys. And then because they're better at research than I am, I shared it with Tuataria, and watching their research pour in has been a true wonder to behold. Like I think at this point we know more about that photograph than any art historian alive in the world today.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty cool. I feel like I could get a PhD out of this if I tried hard enough.
Please don't.
I mean, I'd have to go to graduate school, and I am a terrible student, so I probably. Yeah. But God, maybe I'll just give it all up and go to graduate school.
I want a PhD.
Put myself in a lot of debt, and then have to stress out about the terrible job market.
You can just write books that no one will read.
No, that's not always true. It is sometimes true, though. Yeah, Erin of Tuataria wants to know if she gets part of that PhD, which is fair enough.
That's how it works.
Oh man,
how much easier it would be for us to do research, because if I want to like get a hard sample size on a survey, I just send it out.
Yeah, that's true. That's very advantageous. It's hard. God, academia is hard. Okay, we've got to go in a few minutes, and I apologize for all the questions that we didn't answer. It's a very unusual, for those of you who are new here, usually we're very charming and friendly and nice and not negative, and I'm sorry that we've been very negative today.
Yeah, well.
It's like I went to therapy, though. I feel a lot better than I did 28 minutes ago.
I'm glad. Everybody say nice things to John.
No, you don't have to say nice things to me. It doesn't, but I don't know if this is true for you, Hank, but I think it's true for like you might be the only person I know who it's not true for, actually. But do you find that that compliments just don't penetrate?
I find that many compliments don't penetrate, but some do.
That's great.
It's like it depends on like the frame of mind I'm in, and it also depends on where the compliment is coming from.
I feel like for most people, most of the time, compliments don't penetrate.
Yeah, I mean, like earlier in the podcast, or in the live stream, somebody, said how good Dear Hank and John was for them and how much they appreciated it, and that didn't so much feel like a compliment, but it made me feel like the thing that I'm spending my time doing is worthwhile, which is
right.
That worked for me.
Right.
That helped.
Right. Somebody in comments said Hank's ego is too big to shrug off compliments, which is not wrong.
We were talking about this on Delete This last night, when I said that I think that my imposter syndrome got burned out.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Did you ever have imposter syndrome?
I do occasionally, like especially about like like when I'm doing something new. I still have imposter syndrome about music. I don't feel at all like a musician,
right?
And I somewhat do about the book, but I don't. I used to about podcasts, and I don't anymore.
I don't with the Anthropocene Reviewed. I do a little bit still with Dear Hank and John, because I don't work on it as hard per minute. Like for every minute of the Anthropocene Reviewed, I put in like a couple hours, or 2 or 3 hours per minute. Whereas for every minute of Dear Hank and John, I probably put in like 2 minutes.
Boo. Yeah. For every minute of Dear Hank and John, I probably put in 1.5 minutes.
I would argue I put in like 2 to 3 minutes, but it's nowhere close to. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I don't think the Anthropocene Reviewed is 80 times better than Dear Hank and John, but it does take 80 times more energy per listened minute, which I've never thought about that in that context before. That is interesting. Like,
you should be doing more with the Anthropocene Reviewed, basically, is what I'm hearing.
What'd you say? We should do more with it. No, it's great. It's great. I don't want it. I don't want it to be more stressful.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't want it to be a bigger, more stressful thing. That would make it less fun. I don't want to have to think about it in the context of like business.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll just license it from you and make a YouTube series out of it.
Do that. Hans asks if imposter syndrome goes away. No, it doesn't. But I guess the thing that maybe you do realize, Hans, and then I know we have to go, is that everyone has it. So like writers who are much vastly better than I am are also insecure about their writing, and also vacillate between thinking, oh, I'm pretty good at this, and then thinking on the other pole, like, I am literally the worst writer ever, and I'm going to get found out, and people are going to, people are going to savage me on the internet, which will happen.
That only happens if you get successful enough. So far, my book has hit that nice in-between space where it's doing just fine, but it is not popular enough for people to have opinions about it who haven't read it.
I remember being in that space.
Oh yeah, that was nice, huh?
I liked living there. But then I had to move.
Everybody tell 2 people about my book.
No, no. The last thing Hank needs is no, it's not. Yeah. All right, we got to go.
Okay.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Let's make a podcast.
Okay, bye.